All right, y'all. Let me go ahead and switch this camera. And I'm going to go ahead and call up Abel Sanchez right now. Before I do, real quick, I usually give shots out to everybody in the comment section. Since I was setting up, I didn't really have time to look at the comments. So right now, I'm going to say what's up to a couple cats from top to bottom. Shout out to my man Perez. Anybody, in the comment section I got love for. My man Gary. My what's that? Clifford Adams. What's that? Vittorio. All right. Shout out. What's good from Fort Worth, Texas, says my man Wayne Jeffrey. All right, y'all. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We about to get it in. What's going on, Chuck Williams? I see you, Thomas. All right, Emo. Blackout. That's what it is. Yes, sir, man. It's about to go down like a plane crash right now. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's get this, man. Let's go ahead and get this work we about to put in over here at DBN Radio. You call up Abel right now. Let's see what's going on. Here we go, y'all. Once again, for everybody just tuning in, we are calling up Abel Sanchez right now. He's expecting me to call at this time, so hopefully everything goes according to plan and he answers the phone. Let's see what it is.
Hello.
Abel Sanchez. What's going on, Abel?
Good morning. Not much, man. How are you?
All right. I'm doing good, man. I've been getting a whole bunch of text messages this morning, from an interview you just recently did. So I wanted to get you on the horn because everyone was like, oh, man, we want to hear what Abel has to say about what he said previously. But before I even get into that, let me just ask you real quick about, since we talked about Charlo versus Centino. I know you heard the news. Centino, he pulled out, and the fight has been postponed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Centino pulled out. The fight has been postponed. Jermell Charlo, he says that Centino is scared. Your thoughts?
I don't think any of these guys are scared.
You don't think any of them are scared?
These guys, when they step through the ropes, it's because they step through the ropes, they're not scared. These guys are warriors, man. It could be a ploy for something, you never know because I'm not there and I'm not part of it. But it's not, he didn't pull out. If you say it's postponed or to a different date, that's not pulling out. That's just...
push back, need more time or whatever. Yeah.
All right.
No, I got you when it comes to that. But when you say, Abel, a lot of these fighters, and I hear some fighters say this, these fighters are warriors. If they get in the ring, they're not afraid. But at the same time, you know how me and you, Abel, always talk about the business aspect. If there's a possibility that you may take a huge pay cut, you may be demoted, if you will, and you may not be getting the same type of checks if you take a big loss. Isn't that a concern when it comes to, who you getting in the ring with? If you feel you just may lose and take a major setback?
I don't think any of these guys think about losing, unless you bring in an opponent from another country or from a guy that's got a losing record. These two guys have winning records. So I don't think any of these guys are looking at the loss part of it. They're looking at the benefit of winning. It doesn't matter who you are. If you're at that level, a loss can be detrimental to your career, but they always think that they're going to win. They do.
You believe they always think that they're going to win. So you believe Keith Thurman, he thinks that he'll beat Errol Spence and he's ready for Errol Spence right now. I mean, well, let's say after.
Not right now. In his mind, he's got to recoup from that injury.
No, that's what I was about to say, after the injury, because he said even after the injury, he still doesn't want to fight Errol Spence this year. So in
Keith Thurman's mind, he's the best welterweight in the world, bar none.
Okay. I mean, so when do you think he'll fight? When do you think he'll fight Errol Spence?
I think he'll have a couple fights because Errol is a special talent too. I mean, they're both very talented, but they both think that they can beat the world. But I think Errol is on a roll. I think Keith is trying to rehabilitate that shoulder, and he has a couple fights before the end of the year. You know, a fight could be 4 months. It could be training camp, fight, rest, training camp, fight, rest, and then maybe in 2019. But I think they're definitely going to fight. It's a fight that has to happen.
Oh yeah, I think it's going to happen too. I just question, you know, when Keith is going to take the fight, but I definitely think the fight will happen. One more topic I want to touch on before I get into the main thing I want to talk about is what's your thoughts on Freddie Roach? He just recently said that he doesn't know if Manny Pacquiao changed his number. He doesn't know if he hired a different trainer. He said he called Freddie Roach said he called Manny Pacquiao like 5 times, and Manny hasn't responded to him. And usually they start working around this time since Manny Pacquiao has a fight coming up. Your thoughts on that? Is that, for you being a trainer, is that kind of odd that he can't reach his fighter so close to a fight?
No, I don't think it's odd, because I think he has Boo Boy that helps him in the Philippines. I think that he has had Boo Boy for a long, long time, and I'm sure they're not sitting around waiting for something to happen. They're training. Boo Boy is very capable of getting them ready to the point where Freddie steps in. But I'm sure that Freddie will be there when the time comes, even if it's just for the last couple of weeks. Like Emmanuel used to come in, like some of the great trainers used to come in and make sure that everything was done right and make sure that the game plan is where it should be. But Boo Boy is very capable, and Manny's a seasoned veteran that really doesn't need the babysitting of Freddie. I'm sure he would bring Freddie in at the end towards fight time.
Yeah, we'll see. That just seems like an odd situation. Okay, so Abel, let's get into it. So just recently, you just did an interview, and you said black fighters, a lot of fans feel that they're not pleasing. They don't have a pleasing style, and because of that, that's why people don't tune in, et cetera, et cetera. I'm paraphrasing. I want you, Abel, I'm just gonna say this straight out. There's no way you could possibly believe that, Abel. Do you really believe what you just said, Abel?
Let me say this. I have one of my best fighters is in the Hall of Fame, a young man named Terry Norris. Terry Norris didn't fight in this whole career like a modern black fighter. Terry Norris was a guy that went in and tried to destroy you, because that's what the fans want to see. It doesn't matter the color. It doesn't matter whether he's Indian, whether he's white, whether he's black. Fans want to see somebody beat up. That's the bottom line. It doesn't matter the color. It just so happens that today's, black fighter is so intent on this sweet science. There's no such thing. There's no such thing for the fans as a sweet science. What there is for the fans is somebody getting hurt, somebody getting knocked out. It's not about a decision. I'll tell you what fight I really liked the other day, and that's the fight that Devon Alexander fought. Because he fought like I've never seen him fight before.
Well, Devin,
he fought like he wanted to please the fans.
Well, Devin's been fighting like that for quite some time. But if you just look at the reality of the situation, it kind of doesn't support what you're saying, Abel, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because we have fighters like Deontay Wilder, we have Errol Spence, we have Terrence Crawford, we have Tank Davis, we have the Charlo brothers, we have Jarrett Hurd, we have Anthony Joshua, Anthony Yard. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on and on. So, I mean, which fighters are you talking about?
Behavior. It's also behavior inside and outside the ring, though.
Okay, so you believe it's behavior then it's not style. You believe that...
No, it's styles also, but it's a behavior outside the ring. It's a behavior of a fighter that is asking you, as a fight fan, to pay for a ticket, to buy a pay-per-view. It's the behavior of the fighter. It's just like any movie actor. If you see a movie actor that is not behaving in a way that you see he should be behaving, you're not going to go see his movie. You're not going to support him. There is people that will. Well, what are the percentages, though? What
Abel,
are the percentages of that?
How are you saying black fighters should behave, Abel?
Maybe that's the wrong word, behavior. How they should, we in this business need to cater to our fans. We in this business need to cater to our fans that are buying tickets. And if the majority of tickets are being bought by a particular kind of fan, then we need to cater to them if we want to be seen.
Well,
whether it's the way you fight, whether it's the way you talk, whether it's the way you dress, whether it's the way you comport yourself. Look, Adrian Broner is attractive to the kind of people that behave the way he does. But why isn't Major? He's a hell of a fighter. He's a hell of a fighter. Why isn't Major? Why isn't he not a major attraction?
But he is a major attraction. I mean, compared to the average fighter, he always does big numbers, though. Adrian Broner always does big numbers.
Paulie Malignaggi, let's just say, he's a white fighter that was what's that saying that they used to use, a punch and Judy kind of slapper fighter. But he was always in a fight. He was getting beat up, but he wasn't the draw. He was always the B side, but the A side was a good fighter. So he kind of drew. Terence Crawford is a heck of a fighter. Explain to me why he cannot draw outside of Omaha.
Abel, Abel, we had a talk 3 years ago at your gym in Big Bear, and Abel, that this is way deeper than them just not liking, these fighters because of how they act or how they fight. I'm not gonna quote what you said because we talked off the record. I'm gonna leave that up to you if you wanna mention it. But you told me. We were talking about Rigo and we were talking about Andre Ward, and you said, these fighters, they have a couple strikes against them. And I'm not going to quote what you said because, like I said, that was off the record. But if you want to feel free to bring it up, you can. But we need
to have the support of all fans. We need to have the support of if it's a Mexican fighter, the Mexican fans. If it's a black fighter, the black fans. We need to have that support for the fighter, but we cannot force that support on them.
Of course.
We cannot force the fans to support us. The way we're going to do is we need to find out within ourselves what it's going to take for those fans to support us. What's it going to take? It's not about me. It's not about you. It's about what's that fighter going to do that's going to bring those people in to buy tickets, bring those people in to watch them on TV. What do they need to do? It's about them. It's not about us. I can't force somebody to watch one of my fighters, but I can make my fighter in a way that is attractive to a majority or to a particular denomination, a particular race. I got to make my fighter attractive so that people want to see him fight. People want to see him so they can be entertained. Now, that people, that percentage of the population that watches boxing likes the sweet science, that's 5% or 6%, and that's all you're going to get. That's all you're going to get as a base. But if the majority of the population wants to see Terence Crawford, then Terence Crawford is going to be a superstar. Why? Because the majority of the population, of the boxing population, wants to see him fight. So he needs to figure out what it is that he needs to do. And I don't know what it is. I can only tell you about for my fighters.
But you don't know what it is? But
I don't know what it is.
Well, Abel, you don't have to say it because I'll go ahead and say it. It's more than obvious that this is based on race when it comes to certain fighters. Because once again, you can have a personality like Deontay Wilder. He's knocking out everyone he faces. He's very animated like a Muhammad Ali, and he's not received he's not received like a certain fighter.
So you being an intelligent man, you tell me what he needs to do to be, and not knocking somebody out like he did Bernard Severn, because I've said it 100 times. Anybody that Deontay Wilder hits with the right hand is going to sleep for a couple of weeks.
Of course.
Okay, but now what does he need to do? You as a man, you're his manager now. What does he need, or his promoter? What does he need to do to become that household name? In your opinion,
I'll tell you.
That is,
I have an answer. You just keep winning. You keep winning. You keep winning until there's no one left. Because
why are we complaining about him not drawing?
It's not so much of complaining about it. It's awareness. The whole thing is if it's there and it exists, why are we acting like it doesn't exist? We don't have to. It's not about complaining. It's about exposing something that's right in our face. You're right. We don't have. It's not about forcing. It's not about forcing people to like you. But let's not sugarcoat it and act like it's something else. If we obviously know what it is, that's how we get over this. We get over it.
No. That's not what it is, Dante. That's not what it is. You're talking about racism. You're talking about racism. Yeah, that's not what it is. What it is they don't have the style that attracts. Look, there's just as many black fans as there's Mexican fans.
Errol Spence doesn't have the style that attracts. Deontay Wilder, they don't have a style that attracts.
listen to me. There's just as many black fans as there is Mexican fans. Why can't, let's just say that we have a Errol Spence in the ring. Why can't we have the same amount of black fans that support Terrence or Errol or Wilder that support Canelo or Chavez or any? Why can't? It's not incumbent on the Mexican fans not to forced to be like somebody. They have to be. Okay, no, it's not their responsibility.
I'm saying
if you want to make it a race thing, it's the responsibility of the black fan to support that fighter.
Abel, if you go over to Brooklyn, you go over to the Brooklyn Barclays Center, it's all black. It's all kind of black fans over there supporting black fighters. Just like when you come over to the West Coast.
Why are we complaining?
It's not, once again, it's exposing a double standard is all I'm saying to you.
Well, you just told me that there's a whole bunch of Brooklyn fans that are supporting. Why are we complaining? It's not a double standard.
No,
they need to support not only in Brooklyn, they need to support everywhere.
Abel,
okay? This is an international thing. It's not a Brooklyn thing.
Abel, well, you were the one. The whole reason we having this conversation is because you were the one that said the reason why black fighters, they aren't received the same is because of their style. So that's the whole reason we even talking about this.
Well,
but when it comes to
again, I go back to what I said at the beginning. If the street science is attractive to 5% of the boxing population, then you're going to get 5% support. If a kind of fighter like Brandon Rios is attractive to 90% of the fan base or the boxing population, then you're going to get 90% support. You have to within yourself as a fighter and as a coach. Look, if I would have had, I told you this before, if I would have had Rigondeaux and Lara when they first started here, it's incumbent on me to say to them, listen, in 2 years, I'm not going to be able to sell you. I'm not going to be able to go to the networks, go to the TV, go to force people to come and see you unless you change your style. If they don't listen to me, then it's not my fault.
Abel, let me just go back to respond to what you said about, black fans supporting black fighters and Mexicans.
No,
support.
Fans supporting fighters.
Well, yeah, fans.
Black fans. But that's black fans need to support. Black fans
and
need
black
to
fans
support
do
the
black
fighter
fans,
that they want to support. Don't, for whatever reason, it's not our fault. It's not my fault.
Well, no, but see, this is the thing. Like I said, on the East Coast, you have a lot of black fans that show up at the fights. On the West Coast, you have a lot of Mexican fans that show up at the fights. You're not going to have, in the Brooklyn Barclays Center, you're never going to have a crowd full of Mexican fans supporting Mikey Garcia. Like when Mikey Garcia fought against Broner, the majority of that crowd was black, Puerto Rican. That's a demographic out there in that area. Same thing.
And that's Mikey Garcia's fault.
Same thing at the Staples Center. Because
that's Mikey Garcia's fault.
Well, see, but once again, the whole thing is, if this is America, we're supposed to be considered United States of America. We're supposed to be united.
Just because we're the United States, are you going to force me something I don't want to watch?
No, I know.
Crazy.
It's not about being forced, but the question is, why are they willing to support someone like Gennady Golovkin, and they're not from Kazakhstan, and they're willing to support him, but they're not willing to support Errol Spence, and they have the same style?
No, they don't have the same style.
Errol
Spence, they don't have the same style. They may have the
who's more exciting
inside the ring.
Okay, who's more? Are they just as exciting? Are they just as exciting though?
They may have the same style inside the ring as far as they're beating everybody. Outside the ring, we need to be able to sell ourselves as a fighter, as a person, as a human being, as everything. It's not just inside the ring, Dante.
What do people?
You're missing the point.
What do people know? But what do people know about Golovkin outside the ring? People don't know anything about Golovkin outside the ring.
Look at any of the boxing scene, any of the write-ups, and every week or every month, there's got to be 3 or 4 of Golovkin, even if he's not fighting. There's got to be a publicist that pushes him. There's got to be people that are exposing him out there. There's got to be people that are pushing him. You can't just force somebody to like him because you won the last fight. We need to sell it. We're here. Look, listen to me. We're here right now doing a commercial. This whole week we've been doing interviews with everybody for a fight that's 2 months away. Okay? All those things cost money. All those things take time. All those things take effort. When Golovkin first came on the scene in 2012, he fought the first fight on HBO for nothing. And I tell you that because my check was nothing.
Mm-hmm. But
yet we got a chance to fight on HBO, and all we could do is put him inside the ring. He had to go out and do his thing. He did his thing against a guy that was 28-1. Okay? Then little by little, it wasn't, wait, listen to me. It wasn't until about the 4th or 5th fight that we made any money. We sacrificed that part of it went to Monte Carlo for nothing too. Okay, so the reason that they like Golovkin is maybe because he's out there, he's exposed. Maybe because he does commercials. Maybe because he does interviews. Maybe all those things need to be done with all the fighters, not just white fighters, black fighters, not just Kazakhstani fighters, all fighters. Now, the Russians are coming over this way and dominating our sport here. Why are they dominating our sport not only in the networks, but in fights, in championships? Look at the rankings. It's because they not only are they doing it inside the ring, but somebody wants to push them because they can make more money because of doing it inside the ring.
Well,
you be a manager. You put yourself in the manager's shoes. You put yourself in the promoter's shoes. Are you going to go promote a show where the fighter does not draw flies, regardless of his color? No. You're not going to manage somebody that doesn't draw either. So you put yourself in that position. Don't just be talking about what you think is the problem. Go put yourself in that position. Go invest some money. Go lose some money so that you can understand it.
Well, Abel. Well, first of all, if you've been looking at the numbers, you look at you mentioned Devin Alexander versus Victor Ortiz.
I love that fight.
That fight, it drew 1.5 million views on TV. By way
Fantastic.
And it was on Fox. By way of contrast, Danny Garcia versus Rios only drew 500,000. Okay.
You want me to tell you one of the reasons? I
mean, I could give you tons of examples, though.
No, I can tell you the reason that I wouldn't watch.
Tell me.
Because people get insulted by egotistical, racist rants of the father of Danny Garcia. People are turned off by that, man.
You believe? But it's not just, first of all, it's not just that. And that's not true, because when Sergey Kovalev was calling Adonis Stevenson monkeys, that didn't hurt his viewership. He still got views. But there's other examples.
Oh, no, yes, it did. Yes, it did, because he fought under Ward at the Mandalay Bay and drew 6,500 people in a 12,000 seat arena. 6,500 and 125,000 buys. You tell me that didn't hurt it.
Well, he was never a big draw from the beginning. From the start.
Now you're backpedaling.
No. Listen, but when he fought against Andre Ward, he got those numbers. I mean, we could use all type of examples if we're talking about that. I mean, you got Max Schmeling, who was known as the Nazi. We're
talking about today.
This is my point. Race sells. This is the reason why Floyd Mayweather was so big, because race does sell. This is why Conor McGregor versus Mayweather, that's why that was such a big fight, because at the end of the day,
you're
race
wrong.
does
You're
sell.
wrong. That fight was a big fight because UFC fans wanted to see a UFC fighter beat a boxing fighter.
Well,
that's what that was.
Well, it was UFC versus boxing, but I'm just saying there was tons of layers on top of that, though, as well, though.
Of course, there's layers on top of everything, but you're trying to make it a race thing, and it's not a race thing.
Well,
it's a style thing. It's you put yourself in a position. You put yourself in the position of a promoter or a manager. You go lose some money, and then you go tell me what kind of fighter you're going to manage or train.
But you just said lose some money. I just told you I could give you tons of examples when it comes to the numbers. Andre Ward, when he had his first return fight against your fighter, Barrera, they did 1 million views, and that was with like very little support of the media, because a lot of media, refused to even cover that fight. And they still
why do you think that is?
And they still.
And why do you think that is?
You tell me, Abel. That's what I want to know. You tell me. Why is that?
Because somebody's got to put these men out there to be exposed. Somebody's got to put these men out there to try to sell themselves to the public. Somebody's got to put these men out there. Up to that fight, or even this fight that's happening right now. Kathy is the promoter for one of the fighters that's fighting. Do you see anything out there? You see a publicist putting 3 or 4 pieces every day out there? No. The public is not going to know. Look, Deontay Wilder's fighting on Saturday.
Yeah.
Do people know about that? How many people look at the in the write-ups and see how many people know about this? Look at the commercials. How many people know about that? You can't sell it if you don't put it out there.
But that was my point, though. The media is supposed to sell it, though. The media is supposed to
the media is not supposed to sell it. I'm sorry, the media is not. You're supposed to sell it by buying the media.
The interviews that are conducted, the media workouts, the press conferences, that's all to promote a fight.
Okay,
right?
But those things happen. The media workout and all those things happen because you pay money to have that happen, and then you invite the media.
But I'm saying
somebody's got to spend some money. Somebody has to spend some money. The media's not going to do it by themselves. I'm sorry. They want to come to lunch. They eat a free lunch, and to see a workout. They want to come to a lunch, a free lunch, to see a press conference. But you have to put that up.
Okay.
There's got to be promoters that we don't have no promoters, man. We don't have no promoters. Don King, Bob Arum are gone. We have no promoters that do those kind of things to move their fighters. You look at you mentioned Gennady Golovkin. You look at the rise of Gennady Golovkin from 2012 to now, where he is, what job that promoter has done to get him to that point. And it wasn't because just Gennady was winning, it's because he was out there every day. We had publicists, we had interviews, we had press conferences. How many press conferences did we have in Vegas before a big fight that had nothing to do with Golovkin, that the promoter paid for, so that we could have the media there and have a free lunch so they could write about us?
Okay.
I can probably tell you that almost every fight in Vegas for 3 or 4 years, we were there at, whether it was at Park, whether it was at Mandalay Bay at one of the restaurants, holding media lunches.
Okay, Abel, so despite everything you just said, let's just say all that is true. You know, he wasn't being promoted right, and, you know, somebody's not doing their job. Despite all of that, Abel, Andre Ward still brought in 1 million views. And this was around the same time Orlando Salido, who was quote-unquote Mexican style, he fought against Francisco Vargas on HBO, and that fight did half the numbers. So I'm just saying, it's not supporting.
Do you think maybe it's because Barrera was being trained by Abel Sanchez, who trains Gennady Golovkin? Do you think that had anything to do with it, and they give him a chance to win, even though he was a Cuban, give him a chance to win against Andre Ward? Do you think that's one of the reasons?
Abel, but I'm giving you tons of examples that black fighters, they have
tons of
produced numbers. They produce
give me
numbers.
Examples about white fighters. Give me examples about Indian fighters. Then I'll know that you're trying to be an equal opportunity guy.
Well,
you're being racist, man.
Abel, you saying that I'm being racist when the whole interview is about you saying that black fighters, you know, they have styles that are unpleasing. That does not please the fans. You said that.
I have a fighter in the Hall of Fame. I have a fighter in the Hall of Fame, a black fighter that did not have the style of today's black fighter. That's probably and his brother was probably even a better fighter than he was. Cruiserweight champion, okay? I managed.
I know, Abel, but I'm saying, how do you call me racist when you were the one that brought up this black fighters?
All you keep talking is about the problems of the black fighter. Talk about the problems of boxing.
Well, but this is what you brought up, though. So we talking about what you brought up, though, Abel.
I brought it up in the context of the style of the black fighter.
And that's what we're talking about.
Doesn't sell either. The style of Bolognese doesn't sell either.
And
the
then
style
you start.
Of Juarez doesn't. That little kid, that little bull from Texas, didn't sell either. He was the B always and had to have an A. There's a lot of styles that just won't sell. It doesn't matter the color.
I know.
It doesn't matter the color.
But Abel, the reason why I just brought up the difference when it comes to drawing power is because you were the one that said, you know, these fighters, you know, I'm
the style of the black fighter, not the black fighter. The style of the black fighter.
But once again, I mentioned a lot of styles: Errol Spence, Deontay Wilder, the Charlo brothers, Terrence Crawford, Tank Davis, Anthony Yard.
Tank Davis will never sell.
But we're talking about styles, though. Is his style not pleasing?
But when I say styles, I don't mean just styles inside the ring. The style of themselves, how they comport themselves, how they present themselves to the public.
Abel,
to the
you know fans don't care about that, Abel.
Yes, they do. absolutely, they do. And you talk about
Roberto Duran. Roberto Duran was the coldest person in a negative way, inside and out of the ring. The way he treated,
never sold in the U.S. unless he had the A banana. Okay, he was the B banana.
But he is loved and he is praised. Like,
of course he's loved. You know why he's loved? Because he's a knockout puncher, but he didn't sell by himself.
That's my point. That's my point. They looking at him, what he's doing in the ring, because he's a knockout puncher. That's my point, Abel.
Wait a minute. We're talking about active fighters, not retired fighters.
No,
all retired fighters are going to be loved by everybody.
When he was fighting, he was loved. When he was fighting, he was praised and he was loved.
He was never the A fighter. Dante, don't BS yourself. He was never the A fighter.
That's two different things, Abel. You're right. He wasn't the A side when he was going up against Sugar Ray Leonard. You're right about that. He was the B side.
He wasn't the A side when he was going against Thomas Hearns.
It's two different things.
He wasn't the A side when he was going against Marvin Hagler. He wasn't the A side when he was going against Benitez. He wasn't the A side against anybody here in the U.S.
When he fought against Hearns out here in Las Vegas, Hearns was booed. And Duran was cheered in that fight.
The sportsbook said that Hearns was favored, not Duran.
Yeah, but who's favored is not what the A side means, though. That's just
the A side. That's the A. I'm sorry, but that's the A side. I don't care how you look at it. That's the A side.
De La Hoya was the A side against Mayweather, but he wasn't favored to win the fight, though. You know,
Oh, yes, he was. Oh, yes, he was. Go back and look at it.
De La Hoya was favored to win that fight? He was the favorite?
Absolutely. Absolutely. De La Hoya was favored because the Las Vegas books are in love with him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, once again, all I'm saying, and this the whole conversation, Abel, was just like you said, styles, and we are talking about styles inside of the ring because realistically,
no, I'm talking about styles, complete styles of a fighter, of a human being,
their personality and everything,
seller,
right? Their
of
personality.
A seller, a guy who's going to sell tickets to the casual fan that doesn't know nothing about boxing.
Okay, so give me a direct contrast of like a fighter who has that type of personality, and that's why he's a big draw compared to a fighter who doesn't have that type of personality. Like what?
I think eventually, once he grows up, Errol Spence has that kind of personality. The one thing he's got to stop doing, in my opinion, is boasting so much. Go out and do your job. Go out and do your job.
So fighters shouldn't boast.
I'm not saying shouldn't boast, but sometimes you get to a point where it gets to the tone of arrogance. Okay, just go out and do your job, man. You know, look at the guys that are winning. Look at the guys that are successful. Look at the guys whether they draw or not. Look at the guys that are at the top of the pound for pound list. There's guys that don't say very much. There's guys that go out and do their job. The talkers don't seem that anybody wants to see them.
Andre Ward never said a lot.
That's what I'm saying. He's at the top of the food chain. Whether he draws or not, that's a different subject. And then it goes back to styles inside the ring. But all the guys at the top of the food chain, everybody, look at the list. Everybody is a non-talker, is a non-boaster, is a guy that goes out and gets the job done. Now,
what about Floyd Mayweather? What about Floyd Mayweather? He was.
You look at Floyd Mayweather from 130 to 135. He's probably one of the best fighters ever. But let me ask you this: how come Floyd Mayweather at 47 and at 54 never fought a mandatory? Because he was getting preferential treatment from the organizations. Oh shit, he's black. Wait a minute, that can't be.
Oh, so you do think some of this has something to do with race?
No, I'm telling you because he's a hell of a fighter. That's why he got preferential treatment. You're the one that's going to tell me.
Okay, you've been sarcastic.
The bad things about because it's a race. It's not a race thing. The organizations never forced him to do a mandatory. Look at his record. Never forced him to mandatory. Why? Because he's a great fighter, and they needed him because he's a great fighter to sell, to draw, to bring income in. It had nothing to do with what color he was.
So you're
Look
telling
at the records, man.
So you're telling me the fact that Errol Spence is knocking out everyone, you're telling me if he had the personality of Gennady Golovkin, he would be received.
Dante. He's young. How long has he been on this stage? A year and a half?
But Golovkin,
wait him out, man. Wait him out. Let him be a star. Nobody's been a star in a year and a half.
But Golovkin
was
young.
To be a star tomorrow. You want him to be a star tomorrow.
Golovkin was young when he fought against Marco Antonio Rubio. He was still received that way though, Abel. Even when he first emerged. And Abel, let me just say this too. Do you remember? Once again, I'm never going to, talk about what we talk about, off air or whatever. I'm gonna let you bring it up if you want to. But do you remember what you told me when I was out there in Big Bear? You said, the reason why I decided to work with him? And I said, no. I said, why? Because, he's a knockout artist or whatever. And he said, you don't know? And I said, no, why? And you told me. But like I said, I'm not going to quote you, but do you remember what you said? Why you decided to work with Abel? Why you decided to work with Golovkin, and why you knew he would be a big draw in America?
Because he had 350 amateur fights. That's one of the reasons. Because he lost 5 and he beat everybody that was anybody in the amateurs. And he was, at the time, 16 or 17-0, and number 1 rated in the world. I got to be a foolish man not to think that I want to work with somebody like that.
That's not what you said, though. But that's fine.
Well, there's a lot of other reasons too. But I mean, the bottom line is, I'm not working with a kid that had 2 amateur fights and is hopefully going to make some money. Come on, you're doing this show because you have viewers, because you get income. It's the same thing for us, man. It's the same thing for us. I'm not going to train somebody that's not going to draw. I'm not going to train somebody, and it goes back again to styles. It does not only the style in the ring, but the style outside the ring. I'm not going to train a guy that every time I turn around, he's getting put in jail, or he's boasting about what he's going to do to that guy, and then comes fight time, he does nothing. I have to make money too, just like you do.
Abel, you remember the New Kids on the Block? You remember that group?
Not really. I didn't listen to that kind of music.
Okay. Well, you
If you talk to me about country music, then I'll tell you I do remember.
Okay. Well, I'll just give you a scenario. There was a group, an American black group named New Edition, hip hop R&B group named New Edition. You know, they were like the Jackson 5s. And
right.
you know, they had a little bit of a buzz. They were pretty big. They were the biggest R&B group back in.
I remember the name.
Okay. So then, you know, once they started to get a little older or whatever, there was a newer group that came out. They were called New Kids on the Block. So you have New Edition, now you have New Kids on the Block, and they, you know, once they were discovered, they end up doing way bigger numbers than New Edition. It was a all white group.
And you're talking that's racism.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna prove that it's based on race, because this is what
that's not racism.
Well, no, let me finish.
Let me finish. The other one.
Let me finish.
Michael Jackson, I think, was.
Let me just finish, Abel.
A black man. The Jackson 5 was a black group. The Osmonds didn't do that well like the Jackson 5 did. You tell me that's racism?
Okay, no, but let me just finish my point real quick, Abel, so you know where I'm going with it. The guy who discovered New Kids on the Block, he said, you know why? You know, I basically gave them a shot because I knew the fact that they were white and they were singing, you know, the same music that New Edition, you know, did, because this guy also discovered New Edition. He said, or he had something to do with New Edition. He said, I knew that they would be big and bigger than New Edition because they were white, on top of the fact that they were good singers.
Again, you're basing everything on what some racist manager said about two groups that he manages. That's
he's not racist. I mean, even Dr. Dre said that he knew that when he discovered Eminem, who's a white rapper.
So when you're telling me that a black man and a white man are doing business, and they're going to do the business that benefits them, regardless of which way it goes or which way it may seem that it goes. Again, the Osmonds didn't do as well as the Jackson 5, and there was a white group and a black group. So you can take any scenario you want, and you're putting it into a racist rant that is not racist. It's racist only because you want it to be racist.
Racist only because I want it to be racist. So you don't believe
everything you're talking to me about is about again, I go back to telling you, I had one of the best fighters in my, the reason that I am here training Golovkin today is because of a young man named Terry Norris.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he's a black fighter in the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I don't have a color barrier. I don't have the understanding of this guy's going to be better because he's black, or this guy's going to be better. It's got to do with what I can produce in the ring.
Yeah.
In the ring.
But this is not so much about you, though, Abel. We're talking about how fighters are,
how
they are received.
You started this whole thing about me. Yes, it is about me. You started this whole thing about what I said.
Yeah, but it opens up dialogue, you know, that needs to be talked about. That's what it does.
It can't be talked about it being racist, though, Dante. It has to be talked about what people want to buy, who wants to buy it, and how much you're willing to pay for it. If I, again, put yourself in a promoter's shoes, put yourself in a manager's shoes, spend some money, find out what it's really like to train, to manage, and to promote somebody, so that you want to have an understanding how much money you want to lose or how much money you want to make.
Once again, Abel, that was the whole reason why I brought up the example of Andre Ward with no support doing 1 million views, which was more than, you know, Vargas
against
Salido.
That's why I brought up the point. Was it one of the, because that's the only fight where he really drew that kind of numbers.
No,
and I brought up the point. Is it because Barrera's trained by that guy over there in Big Bear, and they think that he has a chance against? I didn't think he had a snowball and a chance to beat him, but that he has a chance against one of the greatest fighters of our time. Well, maybe that's one, because he never did it against Kovalev, did he? And he didn't do it the second time against Kovalev.
I can give you tons of examples when it comes to the numbers, though. Deontay Wilder versus Bermane Stiverne, those were some of the highest numbers for Showtime.
Yeah, so then what are we complaining about?
Well, you just said, you know, go out and do the math, lose some money and all that. I'm just trying to tell you that these guys, they're producing numbers. So
then what are we complaining about?
What do you mean? What are we complaining about?
Why are you telling me that the black fighter is not supported? If they're doing those kind of numbers, that's obviously they're supported.
Well, what I'm saying to you and what I'm asking,
I saw the Wilder fight, because Wilder, to me, not only is he a friend of mine, but to me, I've said it in 1,000 interviews. Anybody that Wilder hits with the right hand is going to sleep for a couple weeks. And you can read it in some of the interviews.
Abel,
I think that Wilder is a heck of a puncher.
Abel, it's not about complaining. It's about transparency. It's about just being honest about what it is, because that's how we move forward.
Just like that manager was honest about the new addition and the new kids on the block.
Yeah,
just like he was honest.
Absolutely.
Is that racism? Is that racism?
No, that's not. It's not racism. Okay. It's the world that we live in.
Okay, exactly. So now, instead of complaining about it, why don't we do something about it?
We doing something.
Why don't we educate these kids early in their career on what they should be doing to make themselves sellable?
But you have.
But then again, wait a minute. Then I say that word sellable or marketable, and now we're talking about racism because of what has been going on in the South and in these last couple of years about slavery. You know, there's certain words that we can't say. I say them because I have black fighters who are my best friends, and you know that I have fighters that have been great.
Of course,
black fighters that have been great.
Absolutely.
So I say I don't have that issue. A lot of folks do have that issue, but we have to make sure that we understand that the only way, black, white, yellow, red, doesn't matter. The only way that we're going to force people to buy a pay-per-view, a ticket, is to make sure that we're giving them the attraction that they want to see. Okay? Like I said a little while ago, if the sweet science that everybody talks about, it being this and it isn't, it's not the sweet science, it's an ass whipping from one guy to another guy. That's all it is. If the sweet science is supported by 5% of the population, if you're a manager, is that what you're going to teach, or trainer? Is that what you're going to teach the sweet science so that only 5% of the people want to see you? Or are you going to teach what people want to buy?
Well, I mean,
that's all I'm saying.
I think if you're a manager,
it doesn't matter the color.
It shouldn't matter. I mean, it shouldn't matter.
Listen, at this press conference, Canelo's talking about Abel Sanchez doesn't know shit about boxing. Okay, Abel Sanchez doesn't know shit about boxing because his guys only go forward, his guys only throw punches, his guys are always in shape. Did you read that?
No, that I didn't catch.
Okay,
that I didn't catch.
Okay, he's saying that. So my response to him was, I have one guy in the Hall of Fame, two on their way to the Hall of Fame. I got two of the most dangerous fighters in their own divisions right now that nobody wants to face, or limited opposition to face, and I have had 17 world champions. So if I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, then I'm sorry. But what I did say is another young man from Mexico, who probably Mexico's greatest fighter, fought 89 times before he got beat by a young man named Frankie Randall with the same style. Then he fought another 30-some fights with the same style and did pretty good. I'm talking about Julio Cesar Chavez.
Absolutely.
Okay? So everybody has a style, but I have to sell you, the public, the style that you want to see. Yes, it would be prettier if I had a dancer, or prettier if I had a jabber, prettier. But you know what? That's not what the fans want to see. When those guys get drunk at the fight, when those people continue to drink beer after beer, they want to see somebody get. You've been to the fight. They don't care about a dance. They want to see somebody get beat up.
Yeah, I mean,
let's be realistic.
And you know, realistically, Abel, I guess Canelo didn't know that you trained Terry Norris as well, though. So,
I guess not. You know, yeah. I mean, who in my opinion, was probably one of the better, at least when he was with me at the end of his career, just like Chavez. He won his wayward ways, but it doesn't matter. While he was in his prime, he was a pretty fighter to watch, man. He was a hell of a fighter, a hell of an attacker, a hell of a mean SOB that just wanted to kick the living crap out of somebody. Mm-hmm. He didn't want to box him to death. He wanted to give the fans what they came to see. Yeah. In fact, so much that he hit people when they were down. He got disqualified 2 times.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I hear you, man. So I mean,
so I'm sorry if I ranted, but
no,
but I just think that sometimes we have to take accountability upon ourselves. If I want to sell Dante, if I want to sell a product to Dante, I got to make it attractive to Dante. I have to make it attractive for him to buy it, because I'm selling it for more than most people want to buy it for.
And
the tickets sometimes are ridiculous. Shit, that's a lot of money, man. We can go to the show now and for $40 go and see a movie, but we have to pay $300 or $400 to go see a fight and sit in the nosebleed section.
And you don't believe that fighters like Wilder, Errol Spence, they're giving the fans what they want at an affordable price? Yes.
But again, you have to make yourself, whichever way it has to be, you have to make yourself attractive to that fan that you're trying to sell. I don't know the answer, Dante. I don't know the answer. That's why I say to you, if I take on
I
a
know
fighter,
the
if I
answer.
take you on, if I take you on as a fighter, and you are a nice boxer with no crack and no punch and don't take no chances, I'm gonna tell you, listen, man, we're gonna spend 2 years trying to develop you into a contender. But if you don't do this and this and this, I can't tell you. Orland Norris, I'll give you a prime example. Orland Norris, probably, him and Golovkin were probably the smartest fighters I have ever trained. Smarter IQ inside the ring. When I had Orland Norris, I managed him. I took him to a cruiserweight title. He made 6 defenses or something like that. He was the smartest fighter. He was so slick, it wasn't even funny. He knew what you were going to do way before you knew it. But yet he couldn't punch. So, I had him as a heavyweight. Wait a minute. I had him as a heavyweight at the beginning. He beat Oliver McCall. He beat Tony Tucker. He beat Tony Tubbs. He beat Greg Page. He beat Jesse Ferguson. He beat a lot of contenders of the time, but I could never get a title shot. You know why? Because he couldn't crack. Because he couldn't hurt nobody. Nobody wanted to see a 12. And I was told this by the promoters. It wasn't because he was black. Now, I dropped him down to cruiserweight and killed him to make 190 pounds because 190 pounds was the cruiserweight limit back then for the WBA. And Ole was killing himself to make the weight. But yet he sacrificed to get down to that weight so that we could fight for a world title. He fought for a world title, and he won it, defended it 5 or 6 times. But he moved him back up to heavyweight because he was killing himself to make the weight. But it had nothing to do with him being black or white. It had to do with when he got in as a cruiserweight, these guys were smaller. He was kicking the shit out of him. He was knocking them out. If you watch the fight between him and Arthur Williams, the second fight, the first fight he killed himself. The second fight we did it smarter. You watch the fight between him and Arthur Williams in Las Vegas. He destroyed Arthur Williams, who at the time was a top contender, 1 or 2. But again, it had nothing to do with color. It had to do with what I was trying to sell the public and sell the promoter.
Abel, Martin Luther King, he actually had an interesting quote. He said, it's not the words of the enemies that bother me, but the silence of our friends that concerns me. And I think this is the reason why I believe we need to come out sometime and we need to admit when things do have, even if you want to just admit it has a little something to do with race. We don't have to agree on the percentage, but just the fact that we come out and we expose it and, we make it aware, that kind of...
Absolutely, it has something to do with racism. Just like nobody likes the Mexicans that are coming from across the border. Okay,
yeah,
it all has something to do with racism.
Absolutely,
but
absolutely.
The bottom line is, if we dwell on that, if we continue to just think that that's the reason why we're being oppressed, that because we're coming across the border and trying to take somebody's job here and we don't have papers, if we continue to dwell on that instead of trying to do something different about it, then we're always going to be in the same position. We're going to be talking, my father used to say this term all the time, we're going to be talking about the same subject 6 months from now because we're not doing something about it.
Well,
change it.
Well,
Change it. Go sell yourself the way you need to sell yourself.
Well, news channels and news companies, they'll never go out of business. Reporting the news will always exist, so in a certain sense, all we doing is reporting the news. If I know that you coming over to my side of town and there's an accident on the freeway you got to get on, I'm going to tell you, Abel, there's an accident over there, so you'll find a different route. So in a certain sense, we are, it's not about complaining. Like I said, it's about calling it what it is.
But by calling it what it is, that fix it? And you were calling it what it is 10 years ago.
Oh yeah, well racism will always exist. But hey, I say if you're gonna be something, own it. If you're a Muslim and you're proud of it, own it. If you're a Christian, Correct. If you're a Catholic, own it. You're proud of it. You're proud of your zodiac sign. Whatever you're proud of, own it. It's no reason to say this is what I am, but I don't want anyone to know. You should own it. And that's my whole point.
But there's not enough people owning it, Dante. Look, we're talking about a wall, building a wall to keep my people out, or my people. When I say my people, I say my Latin friends out of the U.S. And it's a wall that's going to keep a lot of drugs out of our country. It's going to keep a lot of people that we don't want in our country. This wall was being talked about back in the Clinton time, in the Bush time. Obama talked about it, and now Trump is talking about it, and nothing's been done.
They had a lot of Yeah, a lot of bills have been passed, prior,
But
when it comes to deporting.
Nothing's been done to curb it. I mean, nothing's been done to build it. Somebody's got to take the bull by the horns and say, no, we got to start doing it now. And that's what I'm saying to you. We need to make sure that we tell our fighters, our prospects, what it's going to take to be able to sell yourself 3 years from now, 4 years from now. If you don't, then you can't complain about it because you didn't do nothing about it.
Yeah. Well, I think the fighters, they're doing their job. I think the promoters...
No, they're not. How are they doing their job?
Well,
because they're winning? That's not part of the job.
Yeah,
part of the job is being able to understand what tomorrow... It's just like when you go to school, when you go to college to be a doctor. You go the first year, the second year, the third year. Stop in the third year, and we'll see how much of a doctor you'll be.
Well, I mean,
it takes development. It takes not just winning. It doesn't take just passing a test.
Speaking of a doctor, Abel, let's just use that reference or analogy. Let's say a doctor, he did heart surgery on you and it was successful, or heart transplant. You're not going to care what that man's personality, is, Abel. You don't care if he's having an affair on his wife. You don't care if he's going to church every Sunday. You're going to be thankful for the rest of your life that man saved your life, right?
Absolutely.
So in boxing, that's what we should be. These fighters, they should be judged on, right? They should be judged on.
You're completely off track there.
How? How so?
We are in the entertainment business. We are in the entertainment business.
Okay, but
My favorite actor is Denzel Washington. I can't wait to see this last movie that he just put out. What the hell is it called? The Attorney. The Equalizer is one of my favorite movies. The new Attorney movie that he just put out. I cannot wait, but I've been so damn busy I cannot see it. Okay.
Yeah.
But if Denzel puts out a bad movie, and I've seen The Equalizer, if I've seen it once, I've seen it 50 times.
What's the name of that movie, guys, in the comment section? They'll tell us right now. What's the name of that movie in the comment section with Denzel Washington, the new one, guys? Go ahead, Abel.
He's an attorney. He's a geek attorney.
Yeah, I seen it, but I forgot the name myself, so.
Okay, so anyway, I'm going to go see it. And if I like it, I can bet you dollars to donuts that I will watch that thing. My wife gets pissed off at me because I watch things over and over again. And I tell her it's because I think there might be a new part in it. Okay? But I watch things over and over again because he's my favorite actor. If he makes a bad movie, you think I'm going to watch it twice? No.
Yeah. Roman J. Esquire. Yeah, Roman J. Esquire. Or Israel. Roman J. Israel. Yeah.
It's the same thing in this business. We are in the entertainment business. We are asking people to spend their hard-earned money to come and watch us. Mm-hmm. In order to do that, we have to give them entertainment. We have to make sure that we provide the entertainment. If the entertainment is not good enough, they're not going to come, man. They're not going to come.
But the thing is, Abel, we have all different type of personalities, and none of it is working. Like I said, you got Deontay Wilder, who's animated. You got
Why do you keep talking about black fighter? Why do you keep talking about black fighter?
Because this is what
why can't you give me an example of a white fighter?
Because this is what you had talked about in your interview, Abel. You said black fighters are not pleasing to the fans. That's why we're talking about this.
Black fighter.
The style
of a black fighter. Malanaji is not appealing. Malanaji is not appealing to the fight fans.
The style of black fighters is what we're talking about. But if we talk about other fighters, if you say why talk about black fighters, but if we talk about non-black fighters,
inside and outside the ring, inside and outside the ring.
Always.
Now, again, I go back to what I said a little while ago. It's not about me. It's who you're trying to sell. Mm-hmm. If the public wants to see this, if 5% of the public wants to see this kind of fighter or this kind of style outside the ring, then if you continue to do that, you're foolish. If 90% of the people want to see this kind of style that are going to buy tickets, I should say, 90% of the boxing public that want to buy tickets want to see this particular style, then you best continue doing what you're doing, even if it's not who you are, because you're in this business to make money. If you get on a high horse and say, but that's not who I am, well, then that's your fault. That's your fault. You're not going to make any money.
Well,
if this program that you have me on right now was completely reversed of how you're doing it, you would lose a lot of your audience.
If it was reversed,
and maybe you lose some of your sponsors that are sponsoring you because you like this kind of content.
What kind of content?
It's all whatever content it is that your sponsors are sponsoring.
Okay, I see the point you're making. I see the point you're making.
But if you deviate, you just said something about a Muslim, a Catholic, whatever. If you have a Catholic program or a Muslim program, and all of a sudden you go to Buddhism, are you going to lose some of those Muslims? Of course you are. Of course you're going to lose some of the cap hits too. Of course you are. So it all depends on what you want to sell. You want to sell a boxer? That's why I keep saying to you, be a manager, be a promoter, go out and spend some money so that you can see what you need to tell your prospects or your fighters what they need to do to be able to make some money in the future, because these kids are struggling. These kids are fighting for 10, 15 years, not going to school. So when they finish their career, if they haven't got a dime in their pocket because they didn't do the right things to sell themselves, it's nobody's fault but their own and their managers, because they didn't put them through school. Most of these kids ain't going to school. Most of these kids are not being forced to get a degree. Most of these kids are living from paycheck to paycheck and spending their money way before they make it. So let's help them. Let's help them by educating them.
Okay. And Abel, right now the phone lines are actually lit right now. We're doing a live radio show right now. Do you want to take a call, Abel, or no?
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's go ahead and take a call right now. Thank you guys for holding. I appreciate it. We're going to take a call. We have 845. What's your name and where you calling from, man? 845? Oh, hold on one second. Okay, go ahead. Okay, he'll call back. All right, we got 704. What's your name? Where you calling from, man?
Hey, man. This is Coach Sheldon Harrison. I'm calling for show.
Hey, what's going on, Coach Sheldon? How you doing, man?
Man, what's going on? Hey, man, I just want to ask Abel, man, why the heck is he talking that BS, man? Look, man, he the one that brought up the issue about the black fighter, man. It was you, man. You brought it up. You the one said that black fighters, and you actually said that, hey, black fighters don't sell. That's what you said, man. And you know what, man? I got to ask you a couple of other questions, too, man. You still ain't answered that question correctly, man. How the hell is Dominic Wade deserving of a shot against Triple G, but Charlo not? How you going to explain that?
I'll answer the first one, the second one first. Dominic Wade was put into that position because a young man named the kid from Jamaica or something like that hurt his shoulder. What was his name, Dante?
Oh God! What's his name? I'm sorry, man. I'm forgetting his name. Hey, what's the guy's name? He was raised in Cuba, but he's from America. He went to Cuba to train. I'm forgetting his name. What's his name, guys?
He fought Deverchenko. I don't know.
Yeah, and he ended up getting
Deverchenko. Anyway, he hurt his shoulder. He was the mandatory. Okay, he hurt his shoulder. Then the IBF.
Toriano. Yeah.
Toronto Johnson.
Yeah.
The IBF gave us weeks to say yes to fighting the next guy, or else they were going to strip Golovkin. Okay? That's the reason that Dominic Wade came into play. And it's not my fault that his managers and his people were able to move him up to number 2. That's not our fault. That's the next guy that's in line. So, Toronto Johnson,
okay, here's my last question. Are you going to let him strip? Hey, so because you guys don't want to fight Charlo, are you going to let him skip Triple G because you don't want to fight Charlo?
It's not that we don't want to fight Charlo. It's not that we don't want to fight Charlo, but Golovkin...
Yeah, but he's a mandatory.
Right, it doesn't matter the mandatory. Golovkin was a mandatory for 2 years for Martinez, the mandatory for 2 years for Cotto, the mandatory for 3 years for Felix Stern. Okay?
We ain't talking about this. We're talking about Charlo right now.
Mandatory means... No, we're talking about Golovkin. We're talking about Golovkin, not Charlo. Charlo's nothing.
Wait a minute.
Golovkin is my champion.
We got so many Triple G fans that all they want to talk about is the mandatory. Okay, we got so many fans that fans that follow your guy.
The mandatories come when there's no WBO that needs to be. Understand that a unification bout trumps a mandatory all night long, according to the organization, not according to me.
Okay. So
now these organizations are in
but my question is. Okay, but my question is, Abel. Okay, are you okay? Okay, I won't say you guys. Will, let's say, Team Golovkin allow himself to be stripped of that belt if he will not fight Jamal Charlo? That's the question I want to get. I just want to yes or no.
It's not a yes or no answer. It's not a yes or no answer because we're talking about a year down the road now. We're talking about a year down the road. Why didn't Charlo fight somebody so he doesn't sit in a shell? Fight somebody.
But see,
okay, Coach. Hey, Coach, I got to get to another call, Coach. I got to get to another call, man. I got a whole bunch of people online right now, man. Or you could hold on and I'll try to get back to you, all right?
Oh, I sure am. I'm going to hold on.
All right.
How are you going to explain this?
Okay. Hold on, man. Let me...
I got a whole bunch of...
Okay,
Hey,
we got 3...
Big Milk.
What's going on, Milt? What's going on, man? That's Milt, my co-host who does a show with me on Sundays. He just called in through the moderator line. What's going on, Milt? Say what's up to Abel Sanchez, man.
Hey, what's going on, Abel? And
How you
Abel,
doing, man?
I just want to commend you. Hey, I'm great.
And he's a big Golovkin fan, Abel. He's a big Golovkin fan, Abel. Just letting you know.
Well, I just want. What I want from him is to be a boxing fan because that's what we need, boxing fans.
No, he's that too.
And that's what I am. That's the reason why I can appreciate Triple G is because I'm a boxing fan. And as a boxing fan, I can appreciate different styles. And Triple G has a style that is fan-pleasing for most casual fans, so I give it to him. And I want to first say I commend you, for coming on here after making the statement that you made and then owning up to it and giving your explanations. So some people would try and make a statement like that and duck it and not come on. So I give you props for coming on. But a couple things I wanted to ask you about is just some of the contradictions that you made, because you're saying that, black fighters, who operate under the style of the sweet science don't sell fights, when the highest producing pay-per-view star that has ever been in boxing, in any sport, has been Floyd Mayweather. And this is after him at 130, 135 pounds. And then you have Triple G, when he did pay-per-views before he fought Danny Jacobs or Canelo, his pay-per-view numbers were kind of paltry. His numbers against David Lemieux, I think he did maybe 97,000 views. David Lemieux is a big puncher.
It was 150.
Okay, I give you the 150. But with a style, if you're saying that he has a fan-pleasing style, why weren't his numbers higher against David Lemieux? He didn't do numbers until he stepped up with Danny Jacobs and Canelo Alvarez. And Canelo, to a certain extent, uses the sweet science. He counterpunches. He's not a true so-called, quote-unquote, Mexican-style fighter.
Especially in the Lemieux fight.
Milt, let me answer your question. First of all, I didn't say that sweet science doesn't sell. What I said to Dante was, if the sweet science has 5% viewership, but that's the people that want to see it, then that's how you need to train your fighter. If 90% of the fans, the boxing buying fans, view another style as to be the style they want to see, that's how you have to develop your fighter. The sweet science may be what people want to see. I don't know, but we have to look at the numbers. We have to look at the experience. Now, Floyd Mayweather at 130, 135 was not the fighter that he is today. He was a heck of a fighter that was so fan-friendly, it wasn't even funny. He is other than the Castillo fight that people seem to think that was close, Floyd Mayweather was probably one of the killers of that time. When he got older, he got smarter. He got smarter and didn't go because these guys were bigger. He didn't go the same kind of style that he had before. But I've always said, and I've told Dante, that I love Floyd's style in a way that he doesn't hold. That his defensive shell is in a way that he's not grabbing your arms, he's not holding. But I go back to what I said. We have to make sure that we understand who we're selling it to, who we're selling these fights to, and how we can sell them. If we can't sell what he's doing now, then whose fault is that? It's not mine. And it's not Golovkin's. Like Golovkin sells to a particular base, and maybe doesn't sell as much as Floyd. We're never going to make. I tell you right now, we're never going to make $300 million like Floyd did. Okay, we're never. So
of course not.
So
what I'm saying is,
we're content. We're content. We're making the money that we're making because we only sell to a small percentage. We're not selling the numbers that Floyd does. I'm not comparing him to Floyd. I'm comparing to today's fighter. What are we gonna teach them and make them fight like, so that they can one day maybe sell the numbers that Floyd does?
Let's take another call. Let's take another quick call real quick, Milt. We got 347. What's going on? What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, what's going on? This is Big TY. I'm in Arizona, originally from New York, longtime boxing fan.
Hey, how you doing, man?
When you asked Abel about what was the reason,
well, Abel's on the line, so you could ask him directly. He's on the
line. Yes, I'm listening.
Okay. He asked you what attracted you to make you want to work with G, and you said that he had almost close to 400 amateur fights. I'm looking at a record where G's record was 43-8. No one can verify the 300 to 400 fighters that Triple G has fought. fan, we have been spoon-fed the hype of what G is. He was moved into an interim position for a belt. He was given a belt. He's been granted probably 2 or 3 belts. And within the 9 to 10 years that he's been doing his thing in the States, it hasn't been exciting. I've been sitting around waiting for some kind of big drama action from Little G since Rubio. And I remember people telling me, yo, you have to see this guy fight. And I'm like, who is he fighting? He's fighting Rubio. You're talking about the guy that Rubio is this guy's big test.
So tell him what.
We have to watch them.
But what's your question though, bro? Ask him what's your question though. At the same time, man.
My question is, when are you going to stop contradicting yourself to the people and trying to force us to believe that G is a superstar? If it wasn't Canelo, if it wasn't facing Jacobs, the only reason he's kind of has somewhat of a status is because people think he's white. He doesn't even acknowledge the Asian side of his family, and the Mongolians were actually come from African people as well. So won't you promote him as the half black, half Asian, half Russian boxer, and see how that feels? This is about
first of all, we don't have to promote him as anything but a fighter. Second of all, the record that you're talking about, is a record that was verified by the Olympic Committee where he fought in the Olympics. That's what they have down as his record. That's the second thing. The third thing is, in the whole history, if you're a boxing fan, in the whole history of boxing since it first started, has there ever been anybody to dominate a division the way Golovkin is dominating? And you're going to say a lot of names, but you're going to say it's a weak division. You mean to tell me in the whole history of boxing there's only been one weak division? He's fought everybody that put in front of him and done what he needed to do. Just like Cotto, just like Mayweather, just like Robinson, just like all those fighters, they didn't dominate a division like he's dominating. And it's not the only time in history there's been a weak division.
Yeah. And with that, we're gonna go to another call. Hey, but thanks, bro. I got to get to another one. All right, man.
Okay, man.
All right, man. Thanks for calling in, man. Okay. Yeah.
But Abel,
go ahead, Milt.
Yeah, Abel. And the thing is, one of the questions I want to ask: Do you see how that this can be construed as offensive? The statement that you made, because you lumped all black fighters into one type of fight, when that is not the case.
Milt, I didn't lump them all in there. Look, Danny Jacobs is a hell of a fighter. Danny Jacobs has the kind of style that I would love to train. Danny Jacobs is, to me, the second best middleweight in the world, above Canelo. That's why Canelo's fighting us, because he wouldn't want to fight Jacobs. I have a fighter in the Hall of Fame right now who's Terry knows, who's probably my best friend, who is a black fighter, who fought the way that I teach people to fight. That's just me. That's just how I like to teach people to fight. It doesn't matter if they're Indian, Mexican, black. All my fighters fight the same way. You see the Russians, they fight the same way. You see the Mexicans, if you saw Joel Diaz when he was with me, he fought the same way. You saw Lupe Aquino, he fought the same way.
Okay. Well, I'm so glad you cleared that up, because the way the blanket statement was made, it was like, black fighters.
I'm sorry if I didn't make it more clear. But what I told Dante right now is that I am talking about styles, and it could be a white fighter, a black fighter, a yellow fighter. But when he asked me what I meant, I explained it to him. It's not only styles inside the ring, but it's outside the ring. It's a compartment. Look, one of the guys who's a friend of mine, at least I like to call him my friend, is a guy named Mike Stafford who trains Adrian Broner. From the beginning, when he had Adrian coming up and he was a pro, I said, man, I felt so glad for Mike that finally, after all the toiling in the nothings, because we toiled in the nothings for a long, long time before we're lucky enough to get somebody. Now he's got a kid that's going to make him back the money that he spent, because we're never going to make it all back. And what happens, this kid goes stupid. This kid goes crazy. So the guy that I feel most sorry for about in this business right now is Mike Stafford, because he finally has somebody who's going to give him back what he put in monetarily. We're never going to get back the time with our kids, with our families that we put into these kids. But finally, he's got somebody who's going to do it, and this kid goes nuts. So I think we have to understand where I'm coming from is I have to look out for my business, my sport. My sport that I have to continue to grow.
Of course. But and I understand that. But the question I know a lot of fans are wanting to know is whether or not you made this statement just as a reason to not fight Jamal Charlo because you feel he's too dangerous and you don't want to risk your fighter losing what he has. That's what's on everyone's mind.
No,
did you make this statement just because you think that Jamal Charlo is too dangerous?
Nobody's too dangerous, but I'll tell you this about Jamal Charlo. He doesn't have the style that I was talking about. He has a style that he comes out to kill somebody. He comes out to hurt somebody, just like he did against Julian. Julian's a heck of a little fighter, and I've always thought that he was going to go somewhere, but the way that Jamal, I should say, finished him, I think Jamal's a heck of a fighter. But you know what? Like I said, Golovkin waited 3 years for Stern, never got it. Waited 2 years for Martinez, never got it. Waited a year and a half for Cotto, never got it. Okay, so everybody has to wait their turn. Just like everybody else in the business besides Jamal Charlo has had to wait their turn. Nobody's immediate. This is a business not only for us, but it's a business for the organizations, for the promoters. It's a business, so everybody has to wait their turn. There's no what's that? I remember watching somebody talked to the OJs on American Bandstand. And he says somebody said you were an overnight success. Yeah, we were doing it for 15 years before we got even a record to be reported. So it's not an overnight sensation. You have to wait. You have to wait your turn. And I think Jamal's eventually going to get whatever opportunity he deserves. But until then, it's a waiting game for everybody.
When you say wait, though, Abel, does that mean you guys are planning on fighting him? He is on the list, or you don't know if Golovkin will take the fight, though?
Of course he's on the list. But just like you have phone calls on the list right now waiting for you, who's going to be next? Whoever called in first. Right now, for me as a coach, I'll tell you what I would like to see. I would like to see him get, he's a big fan of Bernard Hopkins, and so am I. Bernard and I go back a long way. I fought him with Luke Aquino back in the 80s. Okay, so I would like to see Gennady get close to Bernard's record because Bernard is the last unified champion in the middleweight division. Okay, so if we even get close to that, if we able to tie it or even break it, could you imagine the feather in our cap breaking Bernard Hopkins' record, the great Bernard, who fought into his 50s? Okay, that for me is the first step, which would be Saunders. Okay, now we fight Canelo in May, and then we fight Saunders maybe at the end of the year or at the beginning of next year. And then if there's a mandatory that's being pushed before Charlo, they'll look at that. Second of all, if this fight against Canelo is a great fight that sells a lot of money, do you honestly think they're going to go after, the organizations are going to go after, allow somebody else to step in and not make him the money that Golovkin Canelo would make again? Understand that just because he's a WBC mandatory, the WBC, the WBA, the IBF, and the WBO will make money off the Canelo fight because all the organizations are at play here. So it's a business again. So if that fight is a good fight, Canelo's been buying. So now if you're talking about the end of this year, beginning of next, and then Canelo again in May or September, you're talking about 2 years from now. So what is Charlo waiting for? Okay. Why isn't he fighting?
Hey, Abel, I'm glad you mentioned that because I wanted to ask you a question because I'm not clear, and I hope you can clear this up for us. Is there a rematch clause for Triple G? Did he get a rematch clause in this contract?
You know, unfortunately enough, I'll tell you, I don't deal with that. I try not to. I try to do my job as a coach and as a spokesman for my part of it. I don't know. But even if there wasn't, just put yourself in Canelo's position or Canelo's people's position. If this is a great fight and it does great numbers, don't you think that a rematch is something that you would want to do again because there's nobody out there that will get you that kind of money again? Whether there's a rematch or not.
You know, on the business side of it, but as a fight fan, of course, I want to see somebody else step up. But
yeah, but you know what?
Business,
if Canelo was your fighter or Golovkin was your fighter, and you were looking to maximize your income and their income for their future and for their families, you're not looking at the boxing part of it.
Right.
Yeah. And
I totally get it. I get that. I get that.
And I do understand that. But the question is, you know, how long can you go without having to give up that belt, though? You're right. It makes sense.
I just gave you a scenario. And it's 2 years that we could be talking about the end of next year if these fights come into play. I don't know what's going to happen on May the 5th. I don't know what's going to happen on May the 5th.
Well, a lot of times they have arrangements with step-aside money and all that kind of stuff, and that's another reason why sometimes, people can hold those belts and have a mandatory sitting for so long. Like that was Bermain Stavern's situation against Deontay Wilder. They kept paying him step-aside money.
Dante, can I say something to you? I'm doing a photo shoot, a commercial shoot right here for the fight, and they're asking me to come inside, so I have to get off the phone. I'm sorry, but I do have to get off the phone because they're asking for me to come in.
No problem, bro. I appreciate you spending an hour with me, man. We'll talk to you later, all right? Thanks,
yes,
man.
Thank you.
Appreciate the time.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Okay, bye-bye. Thank you.
Take care, man. Hey, good stuff. Regardless, if he contradicting himself, we got to thank the man for spending the time on Dante's Boxing Nation and giving his thoughts and reaction to what he just said. Milt, your thoughts?
Well, of course, there were quite a few contradictions, man. I just
quite a few.
So many. It was a lot to unpack. It was a lot to unpack in that because when you corner them on, hey, all of the knockout artists that we have that are black fighters, then it's like, okay, well, how do they conduct themselves outside the ring? Well, okay, you changing the narrative now. Mm-hmm. Now you're changing it to something totally different than, they don't have a fight fan friendly style and it's not pleasing to fans, so it won't sell. So you shut that narrative down, then he wiggled out into, hey, well, they have to, is how they comport themselves outside the ring, which, it didn't make no sense because the thing is, Floyd is flashy, Floyd is loud, Floyd used to be a in-your-face kind of guy, and then on top of that, he was a slick fighter. When he moved up to 47, he stood right there in the pocket. You couldn't hit him, but he wasn't a toe-to-toe kind of guy or bringing it to you like offensively like he did when he was at 130 and 135, but he still set records at pay-per-view with that sweet science. And so how can you say, but one of the things I wanted to make sure is that, hey, you're not going to lump all black fighters into one type of fighter.
That's the
there
main
is no
thing.
One type of fighter.
And like you said, and just going back to reiterate, the beginning of the interview, that was the first thing I mentioned. He said that, black fighters, their style is not pleasing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And soon as I brought up all these other black fighters, like, Errol Spence, Deontay Wilder, the Charlo brothers, Tank Davis, Terrence Crawford, Anthony Yard, Anthony Joshua. Soon as I said that, like you just said, Milt, then he changed the narrative. And then he said, well, it's the personalities, these guys, they don't know how to behave. And when I said, how should black fighters behave? Once he heard how the question sound, right. Then he was like, "Whoa, well, I don't know if maybe I should rephrase that, So I mean, once again, man, we know and I'm gonna take a call in a minute, and Coach Harris, I got you back on, man. So man. But you know what? Go ahead. Hold on 1 second, Harrison. I'm gonna take another call, and I'm gonna let you go ahead and jump back in, Coach. Okay. What's going on? What's going on, Reggie, out there in Cali? What's going on, Reggie?
Yeah, I still got my Cali number. I live out here in Las Vegas, but
okay.
Fire show, man. You always come with that fire. I salute you for getting him on the phone and addressing this racial commentary that he's been making.
Oh, no.
But my thing is all the hypocritical statements he made and the back and forth, contradicting and stuff about when he tried to change the dynamic of the interview about you drawing more of the being more of it being about racism, but everything within this combat industry is based on race, racial pride, and there's no way to duck that. And the way these networks set things up is they give our fighters the least amount of marketing when we are the entertainment within the sport. But they cater to these Europeans who everything Abel was saying fighters need to do, the Europeans don't have to do, but they still get the television market.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So it contradicts itself all as one. And his statement about black fighting style, so-called black fighting style not being entertainment. The black fighting style is the style that even Europeans are starting to adopt. They don't knock it when Lomachenko does it. Lomachenko's style is the style that they try to attach to black fighters.
Listen,
but even that Mexican style is black fighters.
Man, listen, man. Floyd Mayweather, he broke the Guinness Book World Record of the number of people that showed up for his media workout training session that he did in Russia. You okay? When he did a media workout in the UK, 5,000 plus people showed up just to watch him train and work out. When I went to Mexico to cover Dwayne Beeman, you had Mexican fans walking around in TMT hats, TBE hats and all of that kind of stuff. None of them was walking around with, to be honest, none of them was walking around with Golovkin hats, they weren't even walking around with Canelo hats or Chavez hats. They were wearing TBE hats because Floyd Mayweather is perceived as the Michael Jordan of the sport. And in fact, that's what Nacho Beristain actually called Floyd Mayweather. He called him the Michael Jordan of the sport. He said, like Tina Turner would say, he is simply the best. You know what I mean? So we know it's always contrary to what reality is when you hear people say this kind of stuff. But that's why, like I said, man, what offends me the most is the silence, is acting like you don't see it. I always tell people, racism reminds me of the movie The Sixth Sense. You walking around telling people, I see racism. And everybody's like, I don't see no damn racism. Where you see it at? And it's right in your damn face. You can have somebody getting beat by the police while you saying that, and they like, I don't see no damn racism. What you talking about? I'm like, I'm seeing them. I'm seeing people hanging. I'm seeing people get dragged by the police. So that's what it is, man. That's what it is.
And I think with the thing with Abel, everything that he's trying to push is to knock down what fans really want. He's trying to push fans away from demanding this Triple G and Charlo fight. Nobody wants to see that Canelo fight.
Nobody.
That's the reason I asked him that. The reason I asked him that. I said, hey, man, is that the reason why is this all because you don't want to fight Charlo? Or is he too dangerous to fight?
That's all it's about. And the fans are pressuring it because even at that press conference yesterday for the build up or whatever that press tour they did, the fans weren't there, and then even Canelo wasn't even. I mean, Triple G didn't sell that fight. It was Abel and Canelo going back and forth. Triple G sat there quiet, but he's always saying about how black fighters need to sell themselves and market themselves. But your fighter sits on the stage quiet as if he's the trainer. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And you know what? Let's take another call. And hold on, we got the phone lines lit right now, and I appreciate you guys. Staying on hold.
The show lit, man. Thank you for doing this, man.
Oh man, all day, Coach. Okay, we got 910.
Hey, Coach.
What's your?
No, this is Reggie. That was Reggie.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, how's it going, Dante?
What's going on, man? What's your name? Where you calling from, man?
Hey, it's Wink, man. I'm from H-Town.
Okay. What's good, man? What's on your mind, man?
Man, what's going? Man, I appreciate you letting me on the show once again, man. This dude, Abel Sanchez, is a fucking clown. He's Pennywise the dancing clown. He tip-taps around every single question that y'all guys had. He knows his fighter, and he knows he's not that good of a trainer, because if he did, he would make sure that Triple G was ready for all company. I have never seen Triple G make in-game adjustments against boxer punches. He's not an effective counter-puncher. He doesn't have the footwork. He doesn't have a lot of speed. And the last 3 fights that he's had have been by far the best fights he's had his whole career. So for Abel Sanchez to sit here and act like this dude is the golden child to boxing right now, and that's because he has, the only reason why he acts the way that he does is because he has ESPN writers among like Dan Rayfield and Stephen A. Smith pumping Triple G is like he's fucking John Wick or something. Like he's just murdering everybody out here.
God damn.
He is not fucking John Wick. He's not Papa Yates. Let's just call it what it is. He'll never be that. He'll never be that. He's always picked on much smaller fighters throughout his entire career. He's always posed and fought fighters against that dudes have never been any challenge to him whatsoever. We always knew he was going to win against anybody that he's ever faced. He can sit here and say whatever he wants to say about Floyd Mayweather, but not too long ago, just 2 years ago, and just like you say all the time, Dante, the most dangerous thing you can have in this world is a microphone. And this man was on microphone on your channel talking about wanting to fight Floyd Mayweather, a dude that's 2 weight classes below him. So at the end of the day, he can sit here and act as if he doesn't know what the fucking deal is, and I wanted to stay on the phone, and he lucky he bowed out the way that he did. Because he was gonna get all this work. You know what I'm saying? Because he sucks. Like at the end of the day, he doesn't have any other fighter other than Triple G who's making any noise anyway. His whole entire coaching career is linked to Triple G and will always be that way. This man didn't start making steam until like 3 years ago, 4 years ago. So and this man just came out of nowhere, and everybody, because Dan Rayfield could cover his fights when he can come over here and go there, but he couldn't cover a fight with Andre Ward when he went to go fight Kovalev. And he couldn't do this and he couldn't do that. So we already know what it really is with this dude, and I just want to get y'all's take on it.
You know what? Before everybody give you a take, let me just go ahead and give shout-outs to everyone in the super chat section. I appreciate y'all holding it down and pushing this tank with me tonight over here at DBN Radio. Shout out to my man Zepper and Remanifest. He said, Abel Sanchez, you don't know shit about boxing. And then he gave me another donation and said, Abel Sanchez, about that backtrack like a biatch. And then I'm just reading what my super chat section that says. Shout out to Gregory Wyatt. Once again, this is the big shout out to the Super Chat Army holding it down. Shout out to Black Fight Fan TV. He said, excellent journalism. Abel is exposed again. Keep up the great work from the LDBC. Good looking out, family. Lionel Witherspoon said, good for you, Dante. My man Zepper and Remanifest, man, he was showing a whole lot of love in the Super Chat section. I appreciate that, family. He said, Abel, you smoking that wacky backy. Expose him, Dante. Abel, stop contradicting yourself. By Abel. Hold on 1 second. Who is that? Let me mute that real quick. Okay. Hold on. Let me finish read. Okay, let me mute this background noise real quick. Hold on. I'm trying to figure out where this background noise is coming from.
Before he got off the phone.
Okay. Anyway, let me see. Okay, we got, and I'm still giving shots out over here in the super chat section. Shout out to my man Drew. He said Canelo said Laura ran and fought like him. Man, where's that damn noise coming from? Where's that noise coming from? Hold on for a second. Let me see where this noise is coming from.
Hey, man, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate that.
Hey, Milton. I'm looking at all these lines. I'm trying to figure out where that noise is coming from. Hold on, I'm about to put everybody on mute real quick just to find out where this noise is coming from. Hold on for a second. Let's see where it's coming from. Okay, I just muted everybody. Let me see. Hold on for a second, y'all. Okay, I think that's... Hey, Reggie, is that your background? Okay, I think that was my man Reggie. Okay, let me go ahead.
Yeah.
Let me see here. All right, I'm once again, I'm gonna keep everybody on mute for just a quick second because there's some background noise that's pretty distracting. But anyway, let me go back to the super chat section. My man Keith Reynolds, he said black fighters dominate boxing. My man, another one from Zepper and Remanifest, Abel lost respect. And my man Big Time said Abel is the new Freddie Roach. Shout out to everybody in the super chat section. I appreciate y'all showing that love, all right? That's what it is, man. I'll always give you some shots out, of course, if you showing that love and you helping pushing this tank. Matter of fact, I'm flying out to New York tonight, 10 o'clock flight. JetBlue. That's what it is, man. Shout out to JetBlue. Here, let me go ahead and try to unmute these cats and see if that background noise is gone. Hey, Reggie. Reggie. Okay, I think Reggie's line is corrupted and possessed by the exorcist right now. So let me see. Okay, Milt. Milt, you there?
Yeah, man. I just want to know, like, if this phone call gets make sure and that to let you down.
I don't know where that's. Okay. Hey, 910. Was that you talking?
Yeah.
910.
Oh shit.
Okay, yeah, man. Yeah, We've been speaking so much truth, boy. I swear to God, you know. Some of these lines are possessed or something. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, man. So that's what it is, man. So everybody just tuning in, you know, let me go ahead and give out some more shout outs. I want to give a shout out to the beautiful Andrea out there in Paris. Shout out to Andrea out there in Paris. Shout out to ashkicking.com. Make sure y'all check out that dope website. Also, shout out to boxrunnershoes.com. Shout out to my moderators, L Flowers in the building. What'd you say, L Flowers? Okay, Fresh Fly Shirts. Hit up Dante's Boxing Nation. That's right, L Flowers. L Flowers, she putting the info down. If y'all want to cop these fresh-ass fly shirts I'm rocking, you know, you could go ahead and cop them. Just go to Dante's Boxing Nation at gmail.com, all right? Send me your shirt size, your color. Send me the hat color you want. We rock it. We selling the hats. We selling the shirts. My girl L Flowers just put the info in the comment section, all right? That's what it is, man. Conor McGregor, one of my moderators in the building. Yeah, he said the poltergeist called in. No doubt, man. No doubt. Man, we got it going on, man. And, hey, man, shout out to Abel Sanchez for calling in and giving me some great work. You know what I'm saying? Giving me some great stuff for the fans and everything. You know, I appreciate that. I always appreciate him showing that love and doing an interview with me. So if you guys missed that Blue Magic that we just dropped on this show, the interview I did with Abel Sanchez, it'll be archived and uploaded on my channel. You know, if you missed it and you're just tuning in right now, that's what it is. Let me see. Yeah, y'all. Let me see what's going on with. Let me see. Hey, Coach Sheldon, you there? Okay, I think we probably gonna have to hang up and restart the lines because yeah, like Conor McGregor said, you know, poltergeist done called in and corrupted all the phone lines. So that's pretty much what it is. Exorcist game. So yeah, so I'm gonna close. I think I'm gonna go ahead and close the phone lines, and you know, we're gonna go ahead and just wrap this up. We're gonna wrap this up. I still haven't even packed yet. For New York. So I'll be out there holding it down tomorrow in New York, man. That's pretty much what it is. So I want to thank all you guys for tuning in as always. Let me see. Let me go ahead and pull up my my closeout image over here. Let me see here. And I may go ahead and let me see. I'm gonna go ahead and see what else is going on in the comment section before I wrap it up. What's going on over here in the comment section? We had a lit one today, y'all. Today's show made up for not doing the show on Sunday, last Sunday. Also, Wilder versus Ortiz, the biggest fight this year so far. It's going down. We about to really, really see what Wilder and Ortiz is made of. So it's going down, y'all. It's going down. Hey, before I leave, man, let me give shots out to every country, every city, every block, every hood that's repping Dante's Boxing Nation. Christopher Daly, he says Sweden says hello. That's what's up. I'm going to be back out there in Europe repping for sure. Excellent work, Dante. I'm going to go and give shots out before we wrap this up. Okay, 5 shirts, 1 hat. Okay, comments going pretty fast right now. Little Rock in the building, says Maurice. All right. Knuckles from Kansas City, Missouri. Yes, sir. Let me see what else we got. These comments going pretty fast. Bay Area. All right. I'm moving back up. Let me see. Today was fire. You already know it. Yeah, man. Yeah, it went down like a plane crash today, didn't it? In smithereens, boy. Yeah. Oakland. That's right. Oakland. Yeah, that's right. Chico's Pizza. Linwood. Jay Lamuz. That's what that is, boy. Chico's Pizza, boy. I miss me some of that. Linwood, right down the street from Long Beach, Mexico City. That's what it is. DHP Jr. repping that Mexico City. Riverside. Rasa loves DBN. Good love. I appreciate that, man. Shouts out to the Rasa, man. That's what it is. The La Rasa. Phoenix, Arizona in the building. Isaac. All right. Newark, New Jersey, Minnesota. We working, y'all. Detroit, Michigan. Yes, sir. We working right now. We are working right now. Yeah, man. About to start packing. Looking at, once again, all the comments right now. Philly. Yes, sir. Yeah, he said, you hip to Taco Pete's? I done been at Taco Pete's. I mess with Taco Pete's. Arkansas, North Carolina. Vero Beach, Florida. The Netherlands. Man, we're going to be out of there. What's that? Rotterdam? Netherlands. South Korea in the building. Yes, sir, Robert. 334. Yes, sir. My man said good broadcast. I appreciate that. Big game. Hey, I appreciate that. Hey, we just had somebody just join. That's that DBN Tank. He just jumped right in the tank with us. Shout out to my man. Welcome to the tank, Maurice McElroy. Great show today. Abel is full of shit, is what my man Maurice just said. Rochester, New York, Tennessee, Orlando, Florida. Holding it down, y'all. Holding it down. DBN Live, man. Boy, it was a treat today, wasn't it? It was a treat today, y'all. That's what it is, man. So, yeah, man, we winding down. And I'm going to go ahead, like I said, and end this. And we'll be out in New York tomorrow. I'm going to try to do some type of live show on Sunday while I'm out there in New York. I actually fly back late New York, so I'm late on Sunday. So I'm going to try to do something when I get back out here. I think we'll do a late show. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to try to do. So we'll try to do a late show on Sunday because I fly back. Hopefully I'm not too tired. I know I'll be tired, but when I fly back home, I fly 9 p.m. New York time. And then I'll try to do a show out here, red eye style. Real red eye style. That's what it is, man. All right, y'all. Y'all already know what it is, man. Hashtag Decaf Busters. Hashtag New Media. Hashtag Dante's Boxing Nation. Hashtag DBN. Hashtag Dante's News Nation. Yeah, I'm going to get back on my grind on my other channel, Dante's News Nation. We got to keep you guys afloat when it comes to all this breaking news and all these trending topics, man. Hashtag Dante's Muscle Nation. You know what I'm saying? You already know what it is, man. All day, 24/7. It's the nation, baby. Yep.